Hi everyone, this is Lori from My File Addiction. Today I'm going to show you a basic, we're going to talk about working with rhinestone files in Cricut Design Space program. I know a lot of you are picking up new crafts during this pandemic virus that we have going on here, and I thought I would kind of walk you through what you can kind of expect when you're working with rhinestone files in your Cricut Design Space program. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. I'm going to try to touch base on problem areas in your program and how they are resolved. But first and foremost, your particular program does not support rhinestone files. So that's kind of the first hurdle that as a designer and as a user we have to overcome. So when you go out and you purchase rhinestone files to bring into your Design Space program, some are going to work and some are not going to work. And it's not because you've purchased a bad file. It is because your program does not support rhinestone files. And the reason that it doesn't support them is rhinestone files, the design itself is made up of little circles. And those little circles cut holes in your material to either create your rhinestone template, or some people use the file also to cut a sparkly vinyl such as holographic or glitter vinyl, and you create what we call a faux rhinestone design. So it cuts the circles, and depending on the material that you use, after you adhere that design on a shirt, the material will shimmer and shine and reflect just like a real rhinestone would do. So your program is not set up to be able to handle all of the little circles that make up a design, a rhinestone design. Some smaller designs, yes, the files can upload properly, but in most cases you're talking anywhere between in the high hundreds to thousands of circles that make up a design. And when it gets to be to that point, your program just can't handle that. So as a designer, I have figured out a way to adapt the files and make them work in your program. But not every designer will do this for you. Either they don't know how to, or because it's a problem with your program, sometimes what we suggest that you have on hand is a secondary design program in order to be able to reformat the file yourself. I use a program called Cricut a lot. That runs, the basic program runs about $60. I've found a way to do it in a free program called Inkscape. And so these are programs that if you decide that you want to pursue using rhinestone files and you want to stick with your Design Space program, these are programs that you should think about investing in and learning how to format these files yourself, so that if you purchase a file, you're, for one, not stuck with a file that you can't use. Or for my customers, I do supply the correct file format, or I'm in the process, I should say. Not every single one of my files have been updated, but as I get asked, I update the files. But anyways, if I can't get to it and you're in a spot where you need to use that file, you need to be able to do this yourself. So I do have videos on my website for any of you that would like to learn how to do that yourself. Many of you, some purchase from me on my Etsy store, but I do have another website. It's www.myfileaddiction.com, and as you can see, I talk about Cricut support here and here. These are links. If you clicked on any of these links, it would take you to a support page that I have set up. Support page kind of explains everything that I'm kind of going to go through with you guys, but it also offers videos that I have done, and I have done videos on how to do the formatting. This is how to format in, I believe this is the Shortcut Slot program. Yep. Actually no, let's see. Oh, this is how to upload an SVG file. This video I did on how to reformat in Shortcut Slot version 5, which is the most current version that's out. This is a video I did on doing it in a free program called Inkscape, and I actually even have a link here to where you can download it. Then I have other files. This will just go through the process of unzipping a file when you first get it, and just some in-depth informational information if you're just kind of starting out and you're not sure how to work with any kind of files and bring them into the program and whatnot. Here's another one that I did on resizing and editing the typable font. I have one font that I sell that is actually a typable version. So this tells you how to resize that according to the point sizes. Here's a video on how to work with a stackable font that I sell. And then this version, or I'm sorry, this video is one I just recently added. And it kind of goes over what these black boxes mean around the designs that the boxes that I put. It goes through combining the design piece with the box if you want to cut it. And it also touched base on a problem that was brought to my attention with this file, that I had forgotten to group some circles here with the design piece. So this kind of went through on how to fix that on your end if you had purchased one of this file before I actually fixed it and changed the file out. So anyways, like I said, the support page, there's various links. I have it under my FYI tab, and here it is the Cricut support page. Here's another little tidbit about what the boxes mean, and the black boxes that I put around my designs, what they're for. It's called the hinge method. This gives you step-by-step instructions on what the hinge method is. And then another place that you can find the Cricut support page is by clicking a link on the bottom. So that'll bring you exactly to this page again. So if there's anything that I don't touch base on with this video, please go to my support page. I try to keep that updated as much as possible. If I add any new videos and I do any new videos, I always add them to this support page. So this video will get put there as soon as I get it posted. So anyways, okay, so we are going to start fresh. So most of you, I'm assuming, have changed over to the desktop version of the Cricut Design Space program. So what you would normally do is you would launch this program. And then you're going to go to your upload option, and then you would select upload image, and then you're going to go to browse. Excuse me. So now I am going to talk about what I do with my files, okay? This does not mean every seller does the same exact thing as I do. So I want to let everybody know that this is if you purchase a file from me. And other sellers might have their own way of doing things, or like I said, they may not supply you with a file at all that will work in your program. So for me, for my customers, I have what we call what you should see is let's see if I can find one here. Let's see. That's a regular Cricut file. Just trying to see of a file that I've recently, it should be this one. Okay, so this is a recent file that I have made. So my new files that I make, if you would receive a zip file. So if you clicked on this zip file, oops, you know what, I can't do that in this. I may have to go directly to this file here. Oh, what was the name of that file? Okay, here it is. Okay, Bad and Bougie Birthday Queen. So when you purchase this file, it will come to you as a zip file. So what you would do is you would unzip this file, and just so you can get to all of these individual files. And what I have done is, and you can expand your window here if you can't see all of the full file names. What you can see here is I have two SVG files. This regular SVG file, pretty much any other program out there can use this regular SVG file. For Cricut Design Space, if you were to upload that file, and I'm going to show you a little bit later on, it will lock up your program, okay? Because all of those circles are individual objects. So what I have to do is I have to reformat your files so that the circles are grouped together. And that means when you select one of those circles, it's going to select every circle that is the matching color. So what I do with my most current designs is I label them. At the end of the file name, I put Cricut Brother. And the reason I put Brother on there is Brother Scan and Cut users have a similar issue. They have, I believe, the program now can handle all the individual circles, but they have a resizing issue. So what it will do is it will take a file and resize it to the size of a mat. Cricut Design Space was having that issue, but as of right now, that has been fixed. But it seems like every time I open up this Cricut Design Space program, there's an update. So I can't say that tomorrow there won't be an issue. But as of right now, that issue has been fixed. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look for the Cricut Brother file that I have supplied for you. Now, some of my older files, I mentioned, I have not updated them. So if you open up a file and all you see is a regular SVG file, you can't use that file. You need to contact me. And now before I created these Cricut Brother files, I created files that just had Cricut at the end of the file name. Those files can also be used too. It's just a version that I did before this version. So, and I will tell you what the difference between the two versions is. So, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you by uploading a file here. So I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm going to upload that particular file here. So I'm going to look for the Cricut Brother, which is here. So my files, because I created this file, mine are all individual files, and then I have the zip file. What happens after if you were to right click on this file and you selected extract all, what it would do is it would create a second folder without a zipper on it. Then what you would have to do is you would have to click on that folder, and then you would see the list of files that are in that folder. Okay, so, and then you would go and look for the Cricut Brother file. So what I'm going to do okay, so I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select open. Excuse me. And so I brought this in, and I'm going to go select save. Then I'm going to select on the file, and I'm going to select insert image. And see how fast and quick that particular this file came into the program. And this is because this file has been formatted. Now my Cricut Brother files will all have measurements included, or should. So once in a while, and I make mistakes because there's so much process that I have to go through to save all of these files in different file formats. Once in a while I make a mistake, and I'll forget to include this information. So basically, for your for the Design Space user, Cricut Design Space users, these templates should come in the size that they should be. This note is more for Brother scan and cut users, because as I mentioned, their programs will resize this file. So what you should do though is always double check your file. So what we would do is we would select ungroup. Now I put on here each template should measure. So if you were to look at this file on my website, let's go to, I'm going to search for this design, and I'm going to type in bad. Okay, so here it is right here on my website. Along with the design, you will always see measurements and the stone count for each color in the design, and then your total stone count. So I get this question asked daily. Okay, so the design says it's 10.37 by 8.27 inches. But if you go, now you notice this is a larger size than what I say on my website. Always go by the measurements that I type inside the file. And the reason that these measurements are larger is because they are for the boxes that I put around the design. Okay, so these boxes are there for a reason. For one thing, both boxes around, or the box around each piece, if there was 4 different colors in this design, you would see 4 boxes, but all 4 of those boxes would be exactly the same size. And it's not to waste material. It is to create your template using the hinged method. Excuse me. And that is what I talk about right here on my website. This is the hinged method. So as you can see, this particular file had the black boxes around it, and when you cut these boxes, it basically cuts that box around your design inside your template material. And I will, if you want to come back to this page and read more about how the hinge method works, I'm not going to go into it right now. I do have a video that was on the Cricut support page that talks about it also, but you can come back to this page and look at that information. But anyways, so those boxes are for that hinge method. If you do not want to use the boxes and you want to just cut the pieces because it's going to save you template material, you can do that also. But before you delete these pieces or the boxes, you need to check the size of your design to make sure it's the correct size. So when you select just the box, and sometimes when a piece is so close to the edge, if I were to select in here, it's actually selecting this piece. It's not selecting the box, okay? So you need to make sure that you select just the corner. And as you can see, 10.667 by 8.567. So this matches exactly what I said. If you click on this piece over here, the sizing is exactly the same. So now that we know that our pieces are the correct size, you can go ahead and you can delete the boxes if you wish. If you delete the boxes, that means you need to, you're going to basically be creating two separate transfers and pressing your design that way, versus the hinge method is where you assemble the design on one piece of transfer tape. So, and then you could delete your measurements here, and then you would cut your pieces. So the next thing you would want to check is just to make sure, if you look over here now, you have basically two pieces for the design. So if you were to send these to make it, you have two pieces to cut. Okay, so now if you were to we're going to go back into upload, and we're going to go back into browse, and I'm going to go back to that same exact design, and I'm going to show you what happens if you try to just upload the SVG file. So this is not the one. Here's my Cricut Brother one. Here's my regular one. So I'm going to select open. Comes in. I'm going to select save. Okay, I'm going to go to upload here. And a lot of times what you'll see up here, sometimes there will be, it will tell you that it's a very large file. So I'm going to select insert image. And the first thing you're going to notice is, here's the error message basically saying it's a large file. And the first thing you're going to notice is how long it's taking to bring in this file. I've had customers telling me they've sat there for 4, 5, 6 hours trying to upload a design. The more circles that are in the design, the slower the process is going to be, because it's basically bringing in every single one of those circles. And this particular design, let's see if I can go back to it. Here it is. This particular design has 1,500 stones. So there's 1,500 circles in here. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to come in. sit and wait and wait. And now you can tell that there are all of these circles that are starting to try to come in here. Where before, I had basically two pieces, because this was one piece and the red part was the other piece. Now it's all individual circles. So the first thing that's going to happen is basically it's locked up your program. There's nothing. You cannot ungroup this. You can't do anything. If I go back, I can tell right now, and I kind of clicked off of it, but another thing that's happening is it has resized these design pieces, and they are much larger. I can tell right now just by looking at the sizing up here at the top. Yes, it starts at the 2.5 inch mark, but it goes to 20.5 inches. So right now, this design is about 18 inches wide. It's way bigger than those dimensions that we first used to when we brought in the Cricut file. If we went back to that particular file, I can't remember what the measurements were, but just by going back to our file here, it should be, my listing image says it should be 10.37 inches. And like I said, this particular file is now almost 18 inches wide. So you cannot use this file. And basically we have to close out of the program, quit it, because we have locked up our program. Okay, so I'm going to select new project, and I'm going to go back into this, and then we can upload this one again, and this is the correct one. So let's back out of this. See if I ungroup this, and you can see that this, yes, it was 10.667. So so that is that particular issue. So like I said, when you are working with rhinestone files, it's all about making sure that you are working with the properly formatted file. And if you're not, it makes all the difference. You will not be able to do what you want to do, and you're going to get very frustrated. Another thing that I do have on my website is I have a freebie section here, and these first 3 designs are perfect for testing out and getting your cut settings correct. These are smaller files. You can see that these 2 particular designs are less than 3 inches. Download these files. Work with your upload them into your program, and cut those files first before you cut bigger files. If you do not get your cut settings correct, you are going to have issues, and you're going to waste material. These Facebook groups are wonderful for asking for help for cut settings, but a lot goes into those cut settings. The person that's giving you advice, their blade could be brand new. Their blade could have cut 50 things with it. So the settings that they use might not be exactly the settings that you need to use. They may have a Cricut Maker. You may have the Cricut Air. You just can't, you can take their advice and you can, it's a starting point, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. So doing test cuts is so very, very important. And we